Yes, what you're watching is the North Korean dictator crying to a video of the North Korean dictator crying. An emotional guy, to say the least here, as the North Koreans have been very much involved in the proxy conflict that's unfolding right now in Ukraine, as it looks like Zelensky is getting shortchanged, and there's a major American pull back. Now, why would the Americans no longer aid and abet and help out the Ukrainians? Well, it looks like a lithium deposit might have something to do with it, as well as our, quote, greatest ally in the Middle East. That looks like it is not yet finished liberating and making, quote, the Middle East great again. As Donald Trump has confused a lot of people with his new slogan of MAGA please, as his base responded or overwhelmingly being like, wait, what? How do we go from MAGA to MAGA, as it looks like there's going to be a lot more of a MAGA policy moving forward within the next 2 years. We're going to be explaining that, as well as talking about the very kind of complicated geopolitical scenario and situation going on right now with the total cutoff of the Ukrainians from the United States. What's really going on here? We'll do our best to explain it as honestly as we can. And if you appreciate that, subscribe, click the notification button. We always appreciate your ability to, of course, spend time with us. Now, we just got the news that the Pentagon is halting weapon shipments to Ukraine because the official explanation here is that the United States worries that its stockpiles have fallen too low. Yep. Is that the case here? As, of course, the United States has been donating a huge sum of its military to many places all around the world, not just Taiwan. Ukraine, Israel, of course, just got a significant portion of it. And why would we be making this decision right now? Well, in my opinion, there's a lot of things at play here. The mineral deal that now doesn't look too good for the Ukrainians, as of course, there's a big development surrounding that. But also, I think the bigger potential here, the more logical explanation to what's going on here right now, is the very fact that the situation probably will be kicking off again inside of the Middle East, and the United States wants to make sure that with the storm clouds gathering, specifically with China coming so much closer to Iran, that they are prepared for whatever might come next. As we have Alex Karp, the head of Palantir, this kind of CIA AI predictive programming and tech, talking about how the United States could soon be fighting a three-front war between Russia, Iran, and China. And already we are involved in a soft proxy war with major nuclear escalations this year that probably will be escalating from here. As, of course, we are learning that the decision to halt some of the shipments of certain air defense missile systems and precise munitions to Ukraine was made in early June, but is only now taking effect here. Now, how short-handed is the United States here? How much munitions have we ran out of, as the Russians here have shown, as well as the Iranians, specifically with some of their drones? Donald Trump was talking about how the Iranians could build one of their kind of glide drone bombers for about $20,000, when in the United States they want about $20 million for the same type of drone with the same type of capabilities. The Russians have shown themselves to activate and start up their Russian war machine that is far more effective when it comes to producing cheaper, quicker products than, of course, the West. That takes a long time to produce their hardware at a bigger price point. As, of course, now I think the Russians are seeing this as a war of attrition here. And when we look at this type of scenario here, we have to understand here, the United States getting themselves involved in the Middle East like we have, as there's 50,000 plus troops in there right now, comes at a significant price. That price looks like it's going to be Ukraine here, as we have Benjamin Rubinstein actually come out and say that Trump sacrificing Ukraine at the altar of Israel was extremely predictable, as this Pentagon halting of weapons, it's going to be very big. It's going to be very severe for the Ukrainians that already had significant military cutbacks within just a span of a few weeks ago. As of course, it wasn't just munitions. There was 20,000 designated defense Patriot missile systems that Joe Biden promised the Ukrainians that were rediverted to the Middle East right before the conflict kicked off. And I saw that. And I was like, there's going to be a conflict in the Middle East. And I said, it's going to happen in the next few days. And people are like, you're crazy. We were right. It wasn't just the 20,000 missiles. It was also their anti-drone systems, their anti-defense systems. All of this, as the United States has just approved a deal with the U.S. State Department and is asking Congress for a $500 million deal for more military equipment to be sent down to Israel. We're going to play you the defense secretary's comments before the Iran conflict kicked off because you saw it coming. We saw the major movement of troops. We saw the major movement of personnel. And we said, listen, this is shaping up to be a major action that the United States soon is going to be taking place. And everyone said, blasphemy! How dare you say this? How dare you tell us that there's going to be war? Our president wouldn't do that. And then it happened. And then it's like, how dare you not trust the president? And I'm like, okay, you guys are a little crazy here. These war bots, these Pentagon paid off Raytheon, IDF, FBI, frickin' sock puppet accounts. We know what you guys are really up to. Of course, the paychecks were flying to all the MAGA influencers that became mega influencers. Bunch of dirty megas. Listen. Hey. I can't believe I just said that. If you appreciate that I did say that, sign up to lookandfilter.com. We are doing... I'm going to get canceled. Listen, I'm going to get canceled. It's done for me. We're probably going to be sent out to that gate of trash here in Florida. We're not that far from it. So if you want to send me food rations for gator trash, if you want to send me, my support, my basic chicken noodle soup and Twinkies that I'm going to be selling and, hustling inside the wire, support me on lookandfilter.com. Your support needed now more than ever. We're getting attacked left, right. It's crazy what's going on. There's a big concerted effort to try to take us out. There's a big concerted effort to try to destroy our monetary opportunities. There's a big effort to be like, they dare to speak anti-war rhetoric. Blasphemy. Cancel them now. If you don't want to see us canceled, listen, our tank is empty, mainly because IRS took everything last year. Just robbed us blind. If you want us to survive and have a big gas tank, I want to do so many things. I want to do on the ground reporting. I want to really take it up a notch and do some really fun stuff on the ground reporting like I used to. It costs a lot of money, especially now with security costs. It's crazy what's going on. Your help needed now more than ever. LukeUnfiltered.com. Plus, we're doing a meetup July 9th with the quartering and July 13th in South Florida here in Miami. So sign up for all that. It's going to be a lot of fun here. As here's what Peake had to say. The defense secretary of the United States, right before the United States started bombing Iran.
And one of the questions was asked is, hey, did you move some of your counter UAS, counter unmanned aerial systems defenses from Ukraine to the Middle East? To which I answered, yes, we did. We're using all assets available to protect our people in that region and around the world.
Yep, as the priorities, of course, shifted inside of Washington, D.C., and Zelensky isn't on that priority list. Now, some people would say, hey, the previous administration kind of goading, pushing, and forcing the Ukrainians to fight this. Hey, Western powers making sure that Zelensky didn't sign any peace deals. We're kind of obliged to kind of help them out. I would argue the more that we kind of push them in this kind of perpetual conflict, the less likely that there's going to be a deal here. Now, the Europeans are talking tough, but that's what the Europeans do. All the Europeans want to do is like, hey, we'll give you a temporary loan. The United States was so generous to the United States. And again, they're still using Starlink. They're still using American intelligence, American spy tech. And this termination of shipment of weapons to Ukraine is going to make a very big, significant difference. As just 2 days ago, the Russians have successfully seized a territory where there was a lithium and a rare earth deposit. Now, the same area would have supplied the United States with revenue for rare earth minerals. If you look at the rare earths mineral deal, a lot of people were mad at Donald Trump because they wanted Ukraine to pay for all of the aid that we gave them. They wanted America to be repaid for that through rare earth minerals. Donald Trump didn't do that. But he did institute a new policy saying any new weapons you guys get, you guys are going to have to pay back in rare earth minerals. So any new weapons moving forward, it's actually going to be paid through your rare earth minerals. Now, with the Russians taking over more rare earth minerals, this could potentially be a correlation to Donald Trump being like, yeah, they're not going to be able to pay us back. They can't give us and allocate us lithium and rare earth minerals now since the Russians control this area. Therefore, we shouldn't be giving them weapons because they won't be able to give it back to us. That's probably what's going on here. And Donald Trump's like, listen, we made the deal. We signed the deal. You want new weapons, you hand over some minerals. Are you going to hand over some minerals? And the Ukrainians are like, well, we just lost a big supply of them, and we are having a difficult time to give that to you. As of course, the Russians also have destroyed almost every single oil refinery in Ukraine. The Ukrainians have been bombing the crap out of Russian energy infrastructure. The Russians have been rebuilding back. The Ukrainians have been building back their resources here. But as we've been telling you for a very long time, because the corporate media is just filled with crap. The corporate media is like, the Ukrainians, they're going to defeat them. They're going to destroy them. The Russian meat wave attacks they're just done. And we were like, wait, what are they talking about? If you look at the techniques that the Russians are using here and they're adapting here, it's ones that the Ukrainians are learning from and adopting themselves. Okay, if you look at this form of warfare, we have military personnel with some vehicles moving forward. Then they draw out the fire. When they draw out the fire, they, of course, have drones overhead, and then they target them. Now, when their drones come, when some military personnel and some of the vehicles come, the Ukrainians kind of hunker down because they're like, oh, crap, the drones are coming. Oh, crap, these guys are coming. When they hunker down, then the Russians kind of watching through the surveillance drones, then they're able to guide those glide drones in. And then all the fortified Ukrainians stuck behind positions where they usually were able to get protective cover from. The glide bombs come in, boom, they're done. Those aren't meat waves attacks. Okay, those are very integrated type of new artificial intelligence infused drone types of form of surveillance and warfare that has been shown to be absolutely brutal to young Slavic men that have been losing their lives in record numbers. Now, the Russians have just announced that the territory of the Luhansk People's Republic has been 100% liberated. Ukraine has lost the region to 100% as the fighting now continues in places like Donetsk and Sumy. And there's also a new offensive that the Ukrainians are launching inside of Russian territory near the Belgorod region once again. Now, the last kind of endeavor, even though it was a major kind of PR victory in the beginning, didn't really play out that well after all, as there was significant loss of manpower and heavy equipment in that specific region. Now, again, we have to understand this is a big deal. Now, Donald Trump has been talking about there's going to be a big deal made with the Russians soon. There's also, I believe, 2 Russian banks that were unsanctioned, which does signal some goodwill and grace from Donald Trump towards the Russians saying, hey, let's make a deal here. As of course, the Russians didn't get involved when Ukraine was getting bombed. Sorry, when Iran was getting bombed, which could have been a part of the deal that Donald Trump had with them. And Donald Trump, listen, we got to understand, there's a public story, there's the real story, and then there's like what really is going on behind the scenes deep down the rabbit hole. What probably really is happening here, Donald Trump said, listen, we're going to take out Iran, but we'll give you a big portion of Ukraine, and we'll stop arming Ukraine. And listen, Donald Trump, a couple of days ago, was like, I'll think about giving Patriot missile systems to Ukraine. I know the Ukrainians really want them. I know they were supposed to be expecting a big delivery for them, and then we just sent it to the Middle East. Listen, the United States spent 20% of its THAAD missile defense systems just on a 12-day war with Iran. As of course, now the question kind of remains here. What's going to be happening here? As it looks like the Israelis are also, according to many different reports and government sources, also very low on munitions, very low on air defense missiles, very low on, and the Ukrainians also, very low on precise munitions here. Now, Biden was sending billions to Ukraine to the point where we were even saying, hey, we're sending so much of our hardware there, we're going to be vulnerable. And the amount of stockpiles that we used to have, that we used to rely on as a deterrence, all that's gone. Now, this is important because, again, the Russian war machine, the Chinese war machine, the Iranian war machine, they're cooking, okay? They're producing munitions very fast right now. Now, Glenn Greenwald had a very interesting point here, saying even before today's massive increase to the first ever $1 trillion military budget, yeah, that's going to be big here, and that's going to be done with a Golden Dome system. We gave that to Israel. We don't have that ourselves. Now we're going to finally build it ourselves. It's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars. $500 billion is the estimate now, but some people think it's going to be about $800 billion. And we saw the Iron Dome system in Israel didn't really work that well. Let's be honest with ourselves, as the Iranians were shown to, of course, be able to penetrate it. And to the point where the Israelis were like, no more reporting. No more videos. Stop reporting the videos until, and everyone thought, oh yeah, the Iranians are not getting any military success here at all until some Indian fishermen were filming, like, holy cow, these rocket systems are hitting. And these defense missile systems, a lot of them are being fired up. A lot of them are just missing. Which makes you wonder, are we that ready? Are we that prepared? Is our defensive missile capability system that good? As of course we're now involved in a war of propaganda. But Glenn Greenwald here says even today's again $1 trillion military budget. Congrats, Raytheon and Palantir. Yeah, they're the big winners here. The U.S. spends more than the next 15 countries combined, yet it is so low on weapons stockpile from bombing Yemen and feeding Ukraine and Israel. How is that possible? As he then goes on, a big reason Israel needed the war with Iran to end is they were low on munitions, missiles, and air defense from 2 years of destroying Gaza, West Bank, bombing Syria and Lebanon, etc. But also, U.S. stockpiles were depleted to fill it or protect Israel. Now, again, the United States here clearly went all out. Big spending spree, a couple $1 billion. A lot of $billions of dollars, so much money. And again, the deficit just keeps going up and up and up. And here, Ukraine, what do you want? Have a blank check. Here, Israel, have a blank check. Now it's like, okay, Ukraine, cut back. But listen, in my opinion here, the real reason why we stopped financing Ukraine, it's probably to put more pressure on them, to create more of a scenario and situation where they could negotiate and finally do a peace deal. Now, the peace deal has not worked. Donald Trump literally left the Ukrainians and the Russians at the Vatican and was like, just figure it out. I'm out. Peace out. But listen, another major reason why they're getting cut off here is because the United States doesn't care about that conflict. The United States cares about the conflict in the Middle East that the Israelis want to finish. And to me, you're seeing major troop movement, major resupplies, and I think this was a scenario because they're like, okay, holy crap, we need a ceasefire here. We're almost out of missile systems, and the Iranians are, they have a little bit more missiles than we thought. Now, like, oh, we'll be low. The Chinese are watching all of this, by the way. There's a whole bunch of Chinese planes going into Tehran with unknown substances, probably rocket fuel, in my opinion. But when we look at this type of scenario and situation, the United States probably looked at their stockpiles, and it's like, holy cow, 20. The reports were 20%. It might be even more than that, because it's not strategic to kind of signal to everyone, oh, look, guys, we can't defend ourselves. It's not. The priority should be to take care of America. But now, 50,000 troops in the Middle East, they're being resupplied. The missile systems, the guiding systems, the anti-drone systems, the anti-missile systems, all of that is sophisticated, complicated hardware that needs to be re-upped. It is being re-upped for Iran War 2.0. It's going to happen whenever we have enough of the stockpiles to go ahead to, quote, finish the job. And there's going to be either a soft or hard coup of the Ayatollah within 2 years. That's my prediction. I hope I am wrong. In the meantime, the situation is not good for Ukraine, and they'll probably negotiate some kind of truce here. But Putin just said he's not going to negotiate with terrorists after their kind of sabotage attack that now there's allegations of Azerbaijan being responsible for, as the tensions between Russia and Azerbaijan are also rising. So yeah, there's that. There's that. Very sophisticated, complicated scenario. Let's pray for peace, as it looks like we are not in a good situation right now. Sign up to lookunfiltered.com if you appreciate our ability not to be destroyed and canceled so far. We've been through it all, and we'll go through it again. We are persistent, and we are resilient, mainly because of your support. Lookunfiltered.com. Sign up right now. 20 cents a day means the world to us. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.